Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn what is user persona and context scenario in user-centered design. So user persona is actually fictional representation of a target user based on real data. Real data here is the data you used to get responses from your important users. So it could be survey data, it could be interview data, basically or essentially the data we use to do research, user research, I should say here. So what is the purpose of persona? The purpose of persona is empathize with the users and understand their needs. So when you are designing your survey data or interview data, you need to keep few questions in here so that you can get much out of it. Okay, so that is the main purpose. And characteristics, user persona need to include a few elements, which is the name, background of the user, what is their goal. Goal is not like their personal goal. The goal is like what is the goal from your product. So here is the, say if your product is website, what is their goal to use your website, motivation to use your website, and skills, what type of skills they have, and when they use your website, what are the pain points for them. So if I give an example, say Sarah is your persona, who is 30 years old, marketing, and actually Sarah needs quick access to information on her mobile, so sometimes it's not possible, so she got a bit annoyed about it. So this is her pain point. So what is the context scenario? Context scenario is the narrative description, how your persona interact with your product in a specific situation. Say when they purchase something using your website, how they interact, when they look for something, when they want to buy something, when they navigate through your website, how they interact with the website. So this is the narrative description. The purpose is visualize real-world use, identify challenges and opportunities. So what are the characteristics of persona is user's goal, environment, steps taken, and outcome. So if I want to relate with Sarah here, what would be the context scenario for Sarah? So Sarah is heading to a meeting and uses the company app to find sales figure. That's why Sarah needs some quick access. Now, what's the key differences? Most of the time, people is not sure about the differences between personas and context scenarios. For persona, you're gonna ask to user who and why. So understand user characteristics using your product. But scenario would be what, where, and how. Specific and dynamic, and is illustrate product use in context. So why actually I use in context? So in specific situation, how they interact with your product. This is the context scenario. Now, another important technique here is storyboard. In user-centered design, we use a storyboard. So what is the purpose? Purpose actually to tell the story of how user interact with a product in a specific context. That means you can say this context scenario you are representing in a visual way to illustrate user journeys including goals, emotions, environments, and touch points, to identify pain points or opportunities and design requirement early in the process. But who is it for? It's primarily for designers and stakeholders, but it's ultimately benefit the user, and it helps design teams empathize with user and make informed decisions. So can be used to communicate ideas to developers, client, and other team of members. So always visualization is good for design. So with that, we can communicate with the client, sometimes the developer and other team members, and it's very interpretable. This representation always help people. That's why this is we need to actually create a storyboards in user-centered design to improve your product. But how actually it help for designer? So now I am describing how a storyboard helps for designer. It encourages empathy by focusing on real user experience, help validate design decision by grounding them in realistic scenarios, facilitate team alignment around user needs and goals, support ideation, prototyping by visualizing use cases, and how storyboard actually help for user. So ensures the product is designed with real world uses in mind, leads to more intuitive and accessible experiences, and also it reduces frustration by addressing contextual challenges early. So storyboard not only help designer, storyboard also help users in design process. So one of the use case is I just want to give you an example, which is this help designers understand, say, Ellie's goal. So Ellie is a persona, environment, and emotional journey leading to better design decisions. This is the use case. So imagine Ellie wants to notified about a new collectibles on a Gamesco website. So a storyboard could be show. So Ellie browsing the homepage, one story, or her noticing a notify me button and clicking it, receiving a confirmation, and later getting a notification when a new collectible is released. So these are the heading. This could be the 4 headings for a storyboard where you are trying to represent with a picture and some description. So that is all today. I tried my best to give you understanding if I summarize today's lecture, which is what is persona, what is context scenario, and difference between persona and context scenario, and storyboard, why you use storyboard, how storyboard help designer, how storyboard help user, and a example of use cases. Thank you.